So hey guys, welcome back to the channel today. Here's something that I had an issue with doing the timing on the LS3. I racked my brain about this. I got so aggravated, pissed off, ready to just, you know what, this car. So the motor was put back in. Let me flip you. Motor got put back in. Everything was together. I decided to rotate the engine over to get the torque converter bolts in on the underside of the car. Well, the motor turned over. I had the ratchet probably starting off right about here. Got it up to here and it locked. The motor wouldn't turn anymore. Went through everything. I thought it was different length of push rods. I thought I had too long of hardened push rods, which for this application in the GPI SS2 VVT cam, I am running GPI's 7.425 push rods, hardened push rods. I thought they were too long. So I grabbed my stock LS3s and put them back in, which allowed the motor to turn over, but it didn't turn over well. It was almost like the valves were barely kissing the pistons. And so I didn't like that. So I double and triple and quadruple check timing. And here's what I had going on. Here's the cam gear. As you can see, you would think, see if I can get this to focus here. See that line right there? You would think that is your timing mark. No. This arrow is your timing mark. Key thing to notice here, you see how that arrow is down at that tooth, aimed directly on the tooth? And then if you look at this, you can see it's in between teeth. Your timing marks, when you line them up on any LS engine, and I believe it's any small block Chevy for that matter, you actually are supposed to have them tooth to tooth. So you're not supposed to have like the bottom crank gear at a tooth and then up here you're in between. You're gonna have, you're gonna line up point to point. Man, I spent hours last night, racked my brain. I ended up finding something online where they were doing, I had to look up a cam swap in a LS3 or L99 while retaining VVT. Found one article in an old GM performance manual online that was for swapping the camshaft in the 2010 to 2012 Camaro SS when they first came out. Scrolled down to, I think it was step 19, and it said right there, when you're setting timing, you want to line up the arrow on your cam gear with the dot on the crank gear. That was the only information I found. So that's why I'm making this video. I might set up tripod and show assembly of the cam gear and stuff like that. But another good way to tell is your dowel pin on your camshaft will be at the 3 p.m. slot. So picture this as a clock. 3 p.m. area, that's where your dowel pin should be. Should be right at the 3 p.m. mark. That'll let you know, too, if you have any kind of weird... Because mine, when I was off and I was using the incorrect, my dowel was up here. I was at like the 11 o'clock area. Or 10 o'clock-ish area. So, yeah, I hope I didn't hurt the motor by bending any valves and cranking it over by hand. I don't think I did because it still rolled over pretty okay. And if it had any pressure to where it was like locking, I quit. I didn't force anything. So just the simple things, man. You guys know I've been building motors for years. Even guys like me do have their moments. So yeah, let me get the timing chain back on this motor, and let's see. I'll set up a hyperlapse and see if I can set you guys up and get everything assembled here, at least for timing cover and all that good stuff, and getting the oil pan zipped back up. And for the oil pump on these, let me grab the oil pump. For the oil pump, you are not going to be able to get this pump back on this motor 100% assembled, unfortunately. Anybody who's intimidated by doing this, don't be. It's quite simple. All you got to do is remove these 10mm bolts around the perimeter of this here, pull the cap off, pull the gears out. This housing will give you, that will give this housing a lot of room to play. You're going to be able to slip it on there and just swoop right down onto the O-ring. Make sure this is oiled up so you don't pinch the O-ring. You're going to be able to slip this right down onto the O-ring for the pickup tube. As far as getting this bolt back in, the only tip I can give you is take a zip tie and zip tie it as close to the head of the bolt as you can. And how that zip tie is facing off of the thing, take a second zip tie and lock it onto there. That way, if for whatever reason you drop that bolt or anything like that, you're going to be able to fish it out of the bottom of the pan without a lot of hassle. As far as getting the zip tie off, once you're done, just take a razor knife and just you'll be able to just split the zip tie right in half. It's not going to be that big of an issue. Don't use any flame to melt the zip tie because you'll burn your oil pump O-ring. And you're going to be either A, losing oil pressure when it's hot, or not picking any oil pressure up when you first start the engine. So definitely do not use any kind of heat to melt or to break the zip tie. Other than that, like I said, I'll do a time lapse here of me setting timing and things like that, and you guys can watch. Hopefully I can get a good angle of this. I wanted to stop the hyperlapse to show you guys that, as you can see, we do have everything lined up. This amount of slop in the chain is normal, guys, especially with the LS2 dampener. As you can see, boom, boom, they're tooth to tooth lined up. From here, if you have the VVT single bolt here, 52 foot-pounds is what you torque it to. These here are 22 foot-pounds. Each of your perimeter bolts for your timing cover are 22 foot-pounds. For this bolt down here, you're not going to be able to get a torque wrench on it, so just tighten it the best you can. Make sure it is really good, though. Alright, guys, I'm going to start the hyperlapse back up for you. Alright guys, let me turn my heater off over here. So, as you're seeing in the hyperlapse, we've got the timing set, oil pump on. You might have to, because there's a casted lip on the end of on that oil pump. As you've seen, I grabbed a hammer. I didn't use the actual head of the hammer, I just used the handle, give it a couple light taps. It popped right over it. Honestly, I was scared to death putting that oil pickup tube bolt in. It is so tight under there that, man, if you drop that thing, you're going to be cussing yourself out. But luckily, got it first try. It took me about 15 minutes to assemble and torque the timing down and torque the cam gear down, timing chain, get that set, and to actually get the oil pump on, which is a surprise. Everything worked out great. Basically, this will be the end of this episode. I might make another video here, but I actually have to get under the car and do all the oil pan bolts, get those back up. I was going to do and show you guys timing cover, but you guys aren't going to be able to see anything from down low. And so, all right, so maybe in the next video you guys will see all this. See ya.